Good afternoon, everyone. Futures Brizio here. It is Tuesday, March 26, 2024, 12:20 p.m. New York City time. And I hope everybody's been doing well. Sorry I haven't made a video in a while. Like I said, after my last one, I was traveling for about 10 days, so I didn't figure I was going to make any videos during that time. I actually really didn't trade much during that time either because I was pretty tied up most days, so I couldn't look at charts. But anyways, not really much to report today. So we'll just do a really quick look here at a couple of markets, and then we'll probably wrap this up because there's really nothing going on. So we're looking at the S&P 500 futures. This is the June contract, and this is a 10-minute chart. And you can see it's done absolutely nothing today. So, so what I like to do with these usually is when the market opens, well, the New York session, or the North American session opens at 9:30 my time. So on my broker, that's 13:30, which is right about here. Okay, so this is the open. I usually like to wait anywhere from 30 to 60 minutes before I decide on any trades, because that first at least half hour tends to be very volatile and choppy, and that's when a lot of price manipulation happens. And unless there was some big fundamental news event that happened before the market opened that kind of immediately has all this pent up demand when the market opens and it just goes, like if there was major economic news at 8:30, or if there's something else that, and the market's just itching to open and, make a move. But that clearly was not the case today, and that's not the case most days. So, waiting that 30 to 60 minutes is usually pretty good. And so what I like to do at that point is just kind of mark out the range. And so this was basically the high, and this is the low, since the open. And some people like to mark out the overnight high and low. I mean, you can do that, but it's obviously going to, in this case, going to make this range much bigger because the overnight high was way up here, and the overnight low is, let's see where the overnight low is, down here. So, this, you'd have a range like this, which is pretty big. So I think this is a good one here because it just kind of, takes into account how the market and the traders are feeling during the New York session, or the North American session. I keep saying New York. I mean, these are traded in, Chicago, but I'm in the New York time zone, so I just have to remind myself it's not like Forex, and it's just, this is the North American session. So, which starts at 9:30 my time or 8:30 Central time. So, so there you go. And you can see it's doing nothing. It's just, meandering between these two highs, between this high and low, and it's not making any progress. This is a Heikin-Ashi chart, but obviously you put a candlestick chart on here, it's going to, be pretty much the same boring thing. So, and if you go over to the Nasdaq, pretty much the same picture. So here's the high and low on the Nasdaq. And you can see, again, we're just kind of trading inside this range right now. Not really doing too much. So, it is after 12 noon now, so I don't suspect we'll have a lot because the volume really starts to drop off. I mean, unless there was something occurred in the next, hour and a half, I wouldn't expect you're going to see much because the volume really starts to dry up. I mean, by this time of day, most of the, big traders that actually move the market have exited. And unless there's something to drive it, beyond that, I wouldn't expect we'll see too much. So, so this just might be a no trade day. I suppose you can make a case to say, well, you have an impulsive move down, this is a corrective move up, and now we're heading back down. This looks like to be probably a 61.8 Fibonacci at this high right here. Yeah, you might be right, but it hasn't proven that it wants to go anywhere. I mean, it's just been sitting here, and unless, it really makes an impulsive move down here where we get some, strong movement to the downside, I'm just, not interested because this could easily just come back down to this low here and then just bounce and just, end up closing somewhere inside this range today. So we'll see what happens. But, right now it's just not doing anything. And kind of the same thing for crude oil. This is the 15-minute chart of crude oil, and this is just regular candlesticks. But again, the open was right. It was right here at this bear candle. So, here's the session high and here's the session low. And this is a 15-minute chart, so it's a little bigger range. But again, it hadn't really done anything today. If we go out to a little bit higher time frame, in general, I just don't like this pattern with crude oil. It's been moving sideways essentially for the last couple of days. Since the open yesterday, it really hasn't made any progress. This was the open yesterday, or this candle right here. So, here was the high that was made yesterday, about an hour into the session, and you can see we really have not moved beyond this range since then. So, there's just not a lot of economic drivers right now to move this stuff. And until there is, then there's really, no point in trading it. I did take a couple of trades earlier, and, one I lost on, one I had a small profit on, so I think I'm actually a little red for the day. And, after that, I just said, it's just, I'm just going to back off. It's just not worth it because there's no follow through on anything. So, and, you can usually tell that, sometimes in that first hour, obviously you're not going to know. But, after that, as you start getting past the first hour of trading, which is right about here, and then, we start to just kind of, make little progress. And, there's nothing impulsive in here. If the large traders are in here, moving the market, you would see impulsive movement, right? You'd see, a series of bearish or bullish candles and, pushing these things beyond the ranges. But when you get these just small range candles, again, this is only a 10-minute chart with, wicks on both sides, especially these Heikin-Ashi candles, which are just showing a lot of indecision and price, again, just kind of sitting right in the middle of the range, then, that just kind of tells you, hey, there's just not much going on today. And so there's no point just continue to get, cut up trying to, outsmart the market because it's probably not going to work. So, so that's about it, guys. Again, it's not totally out of the realm of possibility. There could be something coming, in terms of trade still today. But again, once it gets after noontime, the likelihood of that, that as time goes by becomes less and less because the volume just kind of dries up in the market. And, there's just nothing to move it. So, because like I said, the large institutional traders and, hedge funds, banks, or whatever have kind of moved on for the day. And, they're just not in the market. And so as retail traders, it's hard to, for us to move it and sustain any type of move. So, and if we put volume on the chart right now, just put a volume indicator. I don't really use volume, but if you put a volume indicator on the chart, you can see, the volume's very low right now, down here. And, this is very typical. What you see is right when the market opens, you get about, anywhere from, 10 minutes or half hour of high volume. And then it does, very classically just drop off the rest of the day. But it usually meets like, some kind of a, finds like a median point, where it just kind of stays the rest of the day. You can see today, right now, it looked like maybe we were going to sustain a median point here, but now look, just volume is completely dried up here. So, like I said, I'm not a big user of those type of indicators. I don't think they really tell you very much, but I know some people really like them. All right, so anyways, I'm just going to leave it there. If anything changes and I take any trades, I'll let you know, though I have to run out in about a half an hour, so I may not be around to look at anything anyways. So, but maybe I'll set a couple of price alarms on my chart just in case something comes up. All right, so that's it, guys. Hope everybody's been doing well. We'll try to get back on here a little bit more regularly, but that's kind of a midday look today. All right, talk to you all soon.